Hi, I'm an old guy and I do maths, and today we're looking at a problem. I suppose you can call it a problem, but it's something that drives some of my students crazy. Why is it that negative 2 to the power of 3, written like this and written like this, equal each other, but when we have an even power, such as 2, they do not? So I think the first thing to do is to deal with the evidence. So we'll have a look on my calculator, and what I've done is I've entered the first two of these. So you can see that on both counts they equal negative 8. Okay, so the next thing to do, I guess, is to do this with an even power. And I'll show you in a minute, but negative 2, the first one, negative 2 to the power of 2 equaled negative 4. Now, let's make the one significant change and see what we get. There we are. You can see both of those. We get different results. And it's my job today to explain why. There's a simple rule behind this, but it confuses people. And what we're looking at is we're looking at the order of operations in mathematics. BEDMAS, sometimes BIDMAS, sometimes BODMAS, depending on where you go to school and indeed what school you go to. Even within a town, they change. But this is what I learnt at school, and this is the order of operations in mathematics. Brackets first, then exponents, indices, powers, call them what you like, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. And what we're focused on is principally the front end of this. So let's see what we're dealing with when we obey this instruction. Well, the negative out the front we can read as negative 1 times that. So if I rewrite this over here, negative 2 to the power of 3, you can take it as being this. And 2 to the power of 3 equals 8, and negative 1 times 8 equals negative 8. So there we are. We have an explanation of why negative 2 to the power of 3, written like this, equals negative 8. Now, let's look at its companion here. Now, what this instructs us to do is the following. Whereas this instructed us, because of the order of operations in mathematics, to do this first and then multiply it by negative 1. We do this and then we do the multiplication. Here, what we have is we multiply up this according to what we are instructed to do here. This is a single unit. It is negative 2. This is negative 1 times 2 to the power of 3. The result is that we get negative 8. Now the key takeaway here, the key thing to remember is that if you see a bracket around something like this with a negative power, and that's quite important, we'll come to that in a minute, with a negative power, you're going to get a negative result. If you see this, you have to remember that you do this bit first and then you deal with the negative. Okay, so let's have a look at the second part of this. So negative 2 to the power of 2. Okay, so what did we get? What did we get for our trouble? Let's look at that again. We got -4. And we got -4 for the same reason that we got -8 up here. It is -1 times 2 to the power of 2, which gives us -4. So this is following this rule. We do this first and then we deal with the negative. We do this first and then we deal with the negative. And that gives us a negative outcome. Whether or not this is even or odd, it doesn't matter what the powers are. Now, the last bit here instructs us to do the following. And you don't need a calculator to show you this, but I will do it nevertheless. There we are. -2 times -2 on my calculator. I hope you can see that. The answer is 4. Why is it 4? Well, 2 negatives make a positive. A negative times a negative. We are multiplying -2 by -2. That's all there is to it. But you can extrapolate this rule to the following. It doesn't matter what sort of power you put here. You're going to get a negative result. It does matter what sort of power you put here. So if we go back up to here, you'll see that we had an odd power, -2 times -2 times -2 times -2. That gave us -8. The even power gave us 4. Negative times a negative is a positive, times a negative gives us another negative. Okay, that is it. That is why we have the seemingly frustrating series of, what would you call them? I suppose they're just confusing if you don't think about how these things are put together and apply BEDMAS. Anyway, that's all for this time. Thanks very much for watching. If you found this useful, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.